Hi, Todd Gurno here with Three Creeks Capital. Today I'm going to address an issue that I see a lot when people want to retire and the market is in a downturn. So the question that I get a lot is, am I going to run out of money? What I explain to people is the biggest risk in retirement isn't average returns. It's when those returns happen. And we call that sequence of returns. And so I'm going to share with you two retirees today who retired with the same portfolio, but their returns based on when they retired are different. Okay, so if you think about having the exact same portfolio, you should have the same return. But that's not the case, again, because it's when the return happened. It's the sequence, okay? So what I want to do is share with you this chart. And you can see here on the left, I've got investor A who has gains right out of the gate in retirement, which is great. And then investor B who retires in a market downturn and then ultimately experiences losses right out of the gate. And so why is this so important? Well, we know that if you're withdrawing money when markets are down, we can compound our problem. And so what we want to do here is get a sense of how bad our problem could be. And let's take a look at this example. So on the left, you see investor A with early gains. Just look there each year. Year 1 through 20 has the same returns as investor B. We just flip them. Okay, so that minus 37% right out of the gate for investor B is the last year for investor A. So you can see how the sequence is now different. We look at investor A, who's got all these gains right out of the gate, short of a couple small losses in year 2, let's say, and in year 12, but for the most part has back-to-back gains. And then in investor B, where we see the negative 37% in year 1, but then we also have a couple others in year 7 and 8, and then again in 9, again in 19. So you can see how those back-to-back years could compound and really create a big problem. And so looking at the bottom gives you a sense of what happened for these two investors. They both averaged 10.36 average rate of return. But like I just mentioned before, we don't find that average rate of return is most important. It's sequence of return. And so in this case, you can see that the person ended up with income that they took out of $268,000 out of their portfolio and had an ending balance of about $614 for a total of $883,000. But look at investor B. So we can see here that they took out $239,000 less than, about 30 grand less than investor A. And oh, by the way, my ending year balance is 0 in year 19. So this is what we want all investors to avoid. And the question becomes, okay, so you're retiring in a downturn. What do you do to protect yourself? Well, first of all, we have to map out your spending. That's the most important, and can look for adjustments. Are you spending too much of your overall portfolio? Can we adjust it down some? Can we extend retirement? The other thing that we think about here at Three Creeks Capital for our clients is developing what we call a war chest. And in that war chest, what we do is we put 3 to 5 years of needed income on a rolling basis in a more conservative overall position. So think of something like a cash position, a money market, bonds, anything that relative to stocks is not going to likely go down nearly as much, if at all. And so there's ways for you to protect yourself even in a downturn if you've just retired. What we don't want to do is sell those equity or stock positions when the market's going down, because then we lock in the loss and we cannot get that gain back. And I've seen this time and time again. I saw it in '08, I saw it in COVID, and now here in 2026, people are still doing the same thing. They're worried about what's going on with the current administration as well as the war in Iran. So what's happening? People are starting to get nervous and adjust their plan, but not really sure what to adjust. Okay, so just keep in mind, you want to keep a very diversified portfolio. You want to reduce the reliance on your equity growth positions, as maintaining your retirement income. So you need to have a better asset allocation overall. And just remember that your retirement success isn't just about how much money you have. It's how you navigate those first few years and many years in retirement, those distributions. One of the fallacies, I believe, of retirement is that, hey, I've accumulated enough money, so I should be fine and I just keep moving. I don't believe that's true. Your distribution phase is just as important, if not more important, than the accumulation phase. So congratulations, you're retired. Now let's work on making sure that you don't end up like investor B and you end up enjoying retirement and not running out of money. If you have questions about sequence of returns, what to do when retiring in a market downturn, we're here to help. Give us a call and we'll walk through your situation and develop the right strategy so that you can avoid being investor B.